AI Picks Podcast, episode number 4. Is that right?
Dave. We're on 4, man.
We got Carrie down below.
Halfway
and
to 8.
To the left. Barrett, you're looking good today. You got some bokeh going on. You got a little bit of that.
Turned up the
smoothness.
bokeh.
Yeah,
I'm actually still sick, but thank you.
No, well, I more meant like the background. Being all
appreciate
blurry.
Yeah, look at that. It is.
Is that a different lens or is that like a filter?
No, it just slightly more filtered.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah. You're
So it's like
good.
it's lensed and filtered. Since it's the AI podcast,
I feel like you're
turn up the
I
AI.
feel like you're looking directly into my soul right now,
which
Barrett.
is good because some of the comments have been really upset about where you're looking, and now you're looking, and I like it. Now I'm looking away and you're looking at the show, so I don't know.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Maybe I'll turn backwards.
Now we only got 2 comments, but I just want to thank the commenters
All
who
2
did
of you.
comment.
Thank you.
Schizophrenic said, Dave, thinking the current generation still uses Facebook and knows relation status because of it. LOL.
That's true.
I mean, I guess that's not.
Yeah,
they're not
yeah.
doing that. I don't know how they're.
Yeah,
on
I mean,
Snapchat
out of the
it's
game a
pretty
while,
dated.
dude.
Well,
Yeah.
you know what? It's just they're on Snapchat looking at each other's privates. I think that's what they're doing.
Yeah, that's pretty much it, I think. It's
I think that's
the
how it
entirety
works.
of it.
Yeah, it's like, hey,
Sums
I
it
think
up.
I've seen you naked. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah,
I just
maybe.
broadcast it everywhere. I don't know. It's very
Oh,
possible.
Yeah,
On a lot of Google Docs right now.
But, it's all right that we didn't get... guys, comment down below, and your comment could get featured on the next show.
Yeah.
You never know.
Yeah.
You never know.
Think about this. The
Think
options, the
about
opportunities.
the opportunity you have here. We had a 1% click-through rate, which is record-breaking for me. This is the worst
Wow.
click-through rate I've ever had.
1%.
They did not
So
like
it got
that
fed to
thumbnail.
people. That's good.
Yeah, 1% of people clicked it. So,
Wow. I didn't even know that was possible.
yeah, I
That's
don't
pretty
know.
cool.
Let's see if we can get 2% on the next
Let's
one.
go for 2.
Is
Just
it
build.
specifically? Let me see if it's that specific show. Let me go look at the previous one.
See if maybe one's like our high though.
I mean, but you also benefit from a first one, don't you? Like
Yeah.
when it's a new thing, right?
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
this is I don't know how to see my click-through rate on the Space Odyssey one. 3.9%.
Ooh.
So that's all right. That's all right. That's not bad. I mean, listen, it's showing this to a lot of resellers. I'll be honest, guys.
Yeah, they're checked out. We got to break through to the movie crowd, and they're a very, very particular bunch. So we got to.
We're gonna try it with the next episode by talking about a current generation movie. But this episode, we're
It's
going old
not about
school.
that.
We're talking about the Big Lebowski. The Big Lebowski, starring
the dude
Peter Johnson and William Chung.
Stewie Griffin.
Stewie
He's
Griffin.
got John
Yes,
Goodman.
Chad.
John Goodman from Roseanne.
John
He was
Goodman.
amazing. He was my favorite character.
John
Honestly,
Goodman.
was John
yes.
Goodman.
Is he still alive?
Yeah, he's still alive.
Yeah.
Very much alive.
Yeah,
Bob
he was
Barker,
good.
no,
Yeah,
but
agreed.
John Goodman, yes.
I mixed
Yeah,
him
it's almost
up
a cliche
with,
to love his character at this point for like the hardcore fans or whatever, but I love his character. I just
John
he's
Goodman's?
awesome. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
Oh, why-
I think it's his favorite character as well.
Really? Walter.
That he has played. Yeah,
Walter,
is what
yeah.
I read.
So we watched The Big Lebowski this week. I liked it. Carrie, we need to start off, as always, with your summary. What is this movie?
Look, don't pee on a guy's carpet if you don't want a whole shenanigan-filled fest to happen. Basically, don't pee on a dude's carpet. That's really what I learned. Don't
Well,
do that.
but-
It's
but
messed
honestly,
up.
the guy that
it could
peed on
ruin
the
people's
carpet-
lives, literally.
That's true. That's true. That was a weird flex, honestly.
It was.
I watched it with my brother, and I did like that he's like, in the beginning, Jeff Bridges, the dude, is getting his head like shoved in the toilet, and he's just like, yeah, I think it might still be down there. Put me in again.
Right,
That's,
give me some
such
more.
A nonchalant. I mean, dude, this movie, really, if you step back, it's all about just how he just goes with the punches.
Yeah.
Right? Like, nothing affects this guy.
Isn't there like a book about like the subtle art of not giving a toot?
Yes,
You know what I
yes.
mean? Like that's kind of what this
Exactly.
whole movie is. The zenness of him is kind of, especially in this modern world, it's kind of enviable. Like how nothing bothered him and everything bothered John Goodman's character. But like this juxtaposition is awesome.
Right. Yeah, just those 3 characters together, I feel like you could just kind of roll tape, forever on that, and just kind of I would enjoy that the banter.
What's the third guy's name? Donnie?
Well, yeah,
It's just
Donnie in the
Steve
film.
Buscemi,
Every
yeah.
time he tries to talk, shut up, Donnie! Shut up, Donnie!
It's like the one guy. It's like if you have like the third wheel best friend in the friendship, he's that third wheel guy.
The
the
punching
one guy
bag.
you could tell the dude's like cool with him. The other guy is probably just jealous, doesn't want him involved, but he's there, you know?
But I feel like they picked kind of, friend archetypes, or, the type of people that I feel like I've seen in places.
Like it's
they definitely get some
seen.
traits that you're like, that's like uncanny,
Yeah, it's like,
Well, like,
there's the
there's
guy who
always-
doesn't care. There's the guy
Yeah.
who's way over the top, and then there's Steve Buscemi. But what is Steve Buscemi really? He never gets to talk. I feel like I didn't even get to
Yeah,
know
he
him.
just
That's
seemed
the
like
whole point.
he seemed like a
And then he
fairly,
literally
seemed like-
turns into dust. And it flies. I mean, it's like
It's
such a
apropos.
funny death.
Yeah, no, I thought it was. I've always struggled to try to say I love the movie because I don't. I don't hate it, but I also I
don't lie. Yeah, yeah.
I don't love it, right? Like, I don't know. I like the dude, but I also get frustrated when watching it at the like absurdity of the whole situation, like the whole entire situation of them having the money and then like dropping the money, but it's like they don't drop the money, they drop a fake, but the whole fake was a fake. It's just so absurd and hard to swallow that it just
I feel like you need to be high to really, really appreciate this movie. You know,
I mean,
I
was
feel like that's what it
definitely
is.
kind
It's
of
like one of those
movie.
like, yeah, I feel like you just got to be token and then just watching because it's like a vibe. It's more of a vibe than an actual movie. I feel like it's just like a vibe.
And it's that same kind of like Seinfeld, not about anything sort of movie. Postmodern.
Nothing
whatever
happens.
movie,
Yeah, nothing happens. At the end of the
like
movie,
you don't
you're
learn
like, wait,
anything. You don't
nothing
win
happened.
anything.
Yeah, it's like nothing
happens,
happened,
yeah.
but like a lot happened. They literally got involved in like all this
like
stuff.
a
One
lot
of their
of things
friends
individually
died,
happened, but
none of
no
it.
lesson
but, like,
was learned.
It's kind of like the dude. Like nothing really mattered. Like the dude was very much just go with the flow to the point where nothing, even terrible stuff, mattered at all, or good or anything.
He ended up with no money, right? Like no free money came his way. Is that true?
Pretty much.
Am I right?
Pretty
Like
much.
he didn't
Yeah,
even
I
get a
think
carpet.
that's right.
He didn't even get a carpet. Did he get a carpet? He got a carpet and then it got taken back by the daughter.
Yeah, right.
So he got nothing. He literally like the whole movie, he just lost a carpet. That is the whole entire story. He lost a carpet. His house got turned upside down, and like just nothing. And well, then there was John Turturro's character, Jesus.
Yeah, classic. Yeah,
Like what? I guess okay. So this may be where I struggle with it. I don't feel like I need to relate with someone to enjoy a movie, but I will say the fact that I can't relate to a single one of these characters does detract a little bit because I don't. I mean, if I was one, maybe it's John Goodman, but like turned up to 25, turned up to 25, maybe I'm John Goodman. But like the rest of the characters, I'm like, definitely not Jeff Bridges.
John's character, John's character reminds me, not Goodman, but Turturro, whatever his last name is, reminds me of like if you're ever scrolling on Instagram, there's always that one like success dude who's like just like this wannabe alpha male, and that he was like such a wannabe alpha male. And the best kryptonite to an alpha male is a dude who doesn't care about anything. So, you know what I mean? Like, none of it matters if he's like, it's just your opinion, man. You know, whatever.
I agree. I think it's like they're almost those sort of opposite, personality traits that they sort of reflect off of each other quite well.
And I would believe, I wouldn't even believe,
pretty good trio.
I wouldn't even believe that someone like the dude exists, except I've met him. My sister's new husband is this guy. Like,
Is the dude.
Nothing affects him. And it's so perfect because, I love my sister, but to be successfully married with her, you can't get wound up. You have to kind of just go with the punches.
Right.
Because she
Right,
can
so
go,
it
she's
sort of
like,
makes sense.
all over the place, right? And so she can get really fired up, and he'll just be sitting there and be like, yeah, it's all right. Just calm down. It's cool. And I'm like,
It's all
what?
good.
How is he not affected by anything? Like, so this person does exist out there, and I'm not gonna say that he's into the weed, but he may or may not be into the weed, and I do think it might be part of that. Like, I think a lot of potheads would relate with Jeff Bridges. I do think that.
Yeah. It's a pothead film. It's like Half Baked or whatever, right
Yeah.
up in the same sort of
Yeah.
territory as far as not like the same kind of movie, but it's definitely a pothead film.
Yeah, was it Coen Brothers did it?
Yeah,
that
Coen
right?
Brothers,
And
shot
they did No
by
Country for Old Men.
Roger Deakins.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, dude, we've seen him. We've kind of met Roger Deakins as he walked by our booth at a trade show. I've met you now because
cool.
there you are. I think I actually did talk to him at Cinegear once. So
did you?
It was like a 2-second conversation.
Yeah,
so, what to do?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
it's cool though.
I think that there was a lot of irony. Irony was a big part of it. There was the stranger in Sam Elliott, the cowboy with the mustache, just sitting there like he
just
was
Sam
the
Elliott
best
doing the
character.
most Sam Elliott character ever. You know, he's always
Right.
kind of a cowboy.
But
not
I read
right.
a long
Saying,
time
like-
ago that was like they wrote that and like if you go and read the script for the film, it says on the script it's like in Sam Elliott's voice. Like I think they wrote that before they even like asked him to be in it. So it's like, well, okay.
Well, but like, what really did he do in the film? Like, what was his? He was saying a lot of words, but he was just kind of saying like, everything's cool. Everything's cool. Yeah, everything's
Well,
fine.
you know,
stranger.
the dude,
Yeah.
the dude abides.
Isn't it a noir?
The dude
I like him
abides.
honestly. Right. Like
Well, what is a noir?
I don't know if we're the right
Yeah, I don't know either.
sort of podcast for that, but it's a type of film, like a film noir.
Okay, I got you.
It's kind of like
Carrie
what
shot
Blade
a
Runner
noir.
was.
There we go. That's
Yeah,
my
it's like
explanation.
Blade Runner, where it's like the
Blade Runner is a film
1930s like detective kind of style with the shadows and the darkness and all.
Yeah,
that.
there's a lot of like tropes, like the visual style, maybe not quite as much, at least in the darkness, kind of lighting and kind of thing, but maybe the framing and but the sort of various. Well, I guess it follows a lead male character, I guess, right? That's like a trope, and then sort of. I don't know.
Well, no, dude, it's funny because I just said, what are some topics? I was asking our friend ChatGPT, like, what would
Excellent.
we discuss
To save
about
the
this
day.
movie? And it said film noir and genre subversion
Look
is
at
like
that.
the number
There we
3
go.
thing it says on here. Analyze how the Big Lebowski plays with and subverts traditional film noir and detective genre tropes, and how this adds to the film's unique style.
Yeah, of course, detective drama. I guess that's a key sort of
Yeah.
word. It is like a detective drama. Yeah.
And so I asked it,
But
what is
yeah, they're
film
just
noir?
completely inept, though, is the problem. Instead of
Right,
skilled
right,
in
they're
their
not
craft,
good.
they're inept. Yeah.
They're just terrible.
They're terrible.
So there is the subversion right there.
So it says
Right,
film noir
right.
is a cinematic term that refers to a specific style of filmmaking that emerged primarily in American cinema in the 40s and 50s. The term film noir itself, which means black film, is French, was coined by French critics to describe a particular type of dark and moody crime drama. Interesting. So is Mulholland Drive one of those?
I think that would be considered film noir, yeah.
Would it?
I don't know.
I don't know. That one's just. I mean, David Lynch movies are sort of like they're David Lynch movies.
They're weird.
Yeah, but I mean, I love them.
What
But
else did
yes,
he
they are.
make? Mulholland Drive's right.
Gosh.
It's a neo-noir
ask
film.
Loser.
It's a neo-noir
Neo-noir.
film.
So Neo being like new,
Like a
like
racer,
new.
right?
Yeah. Okay. Anyways, so yeah, I guess it was kind of like a detective movie. Like you're trying to figure it out. And I'll be honest, like even though I've seen this probably like 10 years ago, I had forgotten that there was never money in the bag at all. Right? Like that's the big thing in this is that
Yeah. I don't think any of the plot points matter. Like I never even try and remember any of them because they're sort of like that's aside the point.
Well, but
You know?
in a sense, like I was sitting there kind of stressed. Like, oh my gosh, he lost $1 million, literally lost $1 million. And this little kid knows
Yeah,
where it
yeah.
is. And like, I was like,
Yeah, it's sort of
literally-
the tension kind of.
I was falling for that, right? I was like in it and I'm like, oh my gosh, where did this kid put the money? And he's like going and he's
It
like going to
gotcha.
beat up the little kid. And even though I've seen it before, I forgot. And I think it's just like, it's actually, it almost leaves a negative vibe that I was feeling that way the whole film. And then it was for nothing. And it was like literally a waste
leaves
of my
leaves
fear
an
and-
emptiness.
Yeah, like I was all anxiety filled about this
Well,
money
that's
and it
the
was
thing,
never
like,
there.
See that it almost plays on whatever your personal characteristics
Your
are, because like the
expectation.
dude doesn't care about anything, but you being like you are,
More
Dave,
like
a little bit
John Goodman in the film.
John Goodman, that it bothered you, and it bothered
bother
John Goodman a little
Did it
bit
bother
too.
you?
Yeah.
No, I didn't. I was like, whatever.
So are you more the dude? What about
I'm from
Steve Buscemi?
California, though, guys. I mean, this felt like to me like being someone who was born and raised for like the first 10 years of my life, there was something that I don't know if I could really explain that was very California about this movie. Like even just the fact that in, the gang of guys, the techno band and stuff that wanted to kill him and beat him up or whatever.
That was
the nihilists or whatever. It's so exhausting to be nihilist. It really is exhausting. You just got to chill. It had Flea, part of one of the most California bands ever.
You
Red
said
Hot Chili
Flea,
Peppers.
the guy from Red Hot Chili Peppers?
The
Which one was
bassist.
he?
Yeah. He was the one of them. He was the
he was one of those
dudes.
guys. Interesting.
Yeah, he was one of the henchmen. So I wanted to figure out who the other guys were to see if they were parts of maybe like other like California scene bands or something. But
it's so funny because
I would agree with you. Like it does. I've only been to LA, I guess, like 3 or 4 times, but it definitely does. I mean, feel like it. Like you get that vibe kind of nowhere else.
And that's kind of
just the architecture, like his house, the sort of
the architecture, it was amplified, but the vibe of California, the tropes and the stereotypes of it being very laid back. There being a lot of stuff going on, a lot of people, much like New York, but it's spread out more, and everybody's much more, I don't know, in a way, chill in general.
But also like it's got the over the top characters, like the
it has
artist
the
lady who just
the
is
vibrant,
so
weird
over the
characters.
top, weird like. But that does make me think of some LA people I've met that are just like, really, this is who you
so
are.
I just read that she based that off like a real artist who would literally paint nude on a swing. Yeah, man. So it's like, there you go.
That artist's name was Carrie.
We've all been there, man. It's some of the best art I've ever created. We'll put it that way.
I will say, like, every character felt like some sort of caricature of someone I've met in LA at these LA parties and events. I'm like, I met that guy, but he wasn't as crazy.
Exactly.
Or met that girl.
Right. That's what I like about it. Yeah, I mean, it's just exactly like even if I'm not one of those people, but I could totally blend with just various traits of those people. But yeah, I mean, they're just 3 quite entertaining people putting on a great performance. It's I don't know, quite an enjoyable thing.
I mean, and so I would say, like, out of all the movies we've watched, this I would say this is I guess it's the first one that's supposed to be funny, but I didn't really laugh much. And so that's an interesting thing about a comedy. So wait. Laugh.
We got to go to the Philip Seymour Hoffman scene where he's taking Jeff Bridges, the dude, through, his.
Philip Seymour Hoffman was so good. Oh my gosh!
Yep.
What a loss.
So like when he's showing him through the Big Lebowski's like his achievements or whatever. You didn't laugh at that. I mean, it's like
that was like. There was.
There's several laugh out louds at it.
I'm not saying there's 0 funny moments, but like there's less funny moments than I find in most comedies. I would say.
Sure. I don't think outright going for that.
Yeah.
I love how Jeff Bridges' character kind of wore him down to the fact that later on in the movie he was just calling him the dude when they were interacting with each other.
That's true, right?
That guy was so proper and so elitist and about status, and he just had given in to the dude and the dude's ways and just accepted it and called
that's a great point. I would say you could enjoy that movie maybe a lot if you focus on how hard he tries to do his job, right? It's like so funny to like watch him portray that character just so well, like with that mindset. It's like you see him just get so frustrated every time that the dude just doesn't quite quite understand the importance of this achievement.
It's funny. It is funny though, like he had the most nonchalant character of everybody, but yet still kind of got everybody to bend their ways to him in a way, which is interesting because the fact that he didn't care made everybody just have to give in to him because he was never going to change his ways because he didn't care, if that makes any sense.
It's almost like Office Space, sort of, right?
Yeah.
Where it's like that's the secret power that unlocks everything is like not caring.
Yeah, no, seriously, yeah. People were so in Office Space, they were so taken aback that it was some sort of revolutionary thing. And
everyone's like, "Whoa! Like hire this, bring."
And I'm sitting there, literally watching the movie. So knowing it's a movie, knowing it actually truly doesn't matter, and it all matters to me the whole time I'm watching. It
mattered a lot.
Stressed out. Like honestly, like I can't think of any other way to describe it, but discomfort. Like I was uncomfortable watching
Wow.
the film almost the whole time because I was stressed out about he just was constantly getting into little conundrums and he wasn't doing anything about it, and it was irritating me and frustrating me because I'm a like doer. I attack a problem and I try to solve a problem to my flaw. Really, ask my wife. It drives her nuts. I'm always trying to fix everything that's going wrong. So like,
So when there's nothing to fix, or there,
and there's no one fixing it, and even the main character doesn't care to fix it. It's incredibly frustrating to me, and I think like as we discuss it, I'm realizing this is probably why I don't really enjoy watching it, because I actually am uncomfortable when I watch it.
well, I mean, and in some ways, the directors are intentionally frustrating you. People with your personality traits, they want to frustrate you. That, like, I'm sorry, but artists do that. Like, you know, especially these kinds of, you know, at this directorial level and writing and everything, like they definitely are in a place where they can do things like that,
like
where they're
sitting
like,
at a
I'm
round
making a
table.
choice.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's not, you know, this isn't something where everyone can have their input. Like, this is my work. Like, I want to do, you know, do my thing with it. And I appreciate even when, like I am like, whoa, this is not for me or whatever. But just when things can kind of take you in a direction that you just maybe didn't want to go, but can kind of make you think about something different.
So am I that obnoxious studio head that's like, oh, you guys need to change the ending. You know, you need him to get $1 million in the trunk of the car.
Yeah.
I'm like that guy, right? Who like ruins
gonna
the
say
artistic vision.
You really are. I mean, I think I
like it to have a
this
little
movie,
bow on it.
This movie was built like to be a comfort movie. I imagine there's a lot of people who turn this on fairly regularly because it's a cult movie, right?
Yeah.
And then they just chill and enjoy the vibe, and it puts them in whatever kind of mood, maybe just to not give a crap about whatever's going on in their life or whatever, or not take it as seriously. I feel like that's its power is the philosophy. A movie that's kind of about nothing, right? Kind of about nothing, and nothing matters to this guy. But at the end of the day, the movie's kind of about the philosophy behind it of just not taking life, even terrible stuff, which you should take serious, but like just not taking things so seriously and just going with the flow, abiding, accepting, right? Accepting life, which is what abiding is, just accepting it. You know, it's like what is that, Buddhism or whatever it is? It's like spirituality, pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me though, that's a challenge. And it's funny because like I quit my job recently, and I work for myself, and I'll be honest, I went on a vacation. I've been on vacation for the last week, and today I was so high strung and stressed out. I have no boss. But for some reason, like, I am riding myself so hard, like, oh, you need to get this done and this done and this done and this done and this done, to the point where I'm, like, about to lose it because I can't abide. I don't know how to abide, guys. I never learned to abide.
You just got to remember, the dude abides.
The Dave doesn't abide. So maybe I should try to learn a life lesson out of it and try to become one who abides more. But
I mean, that would be, you know, that's kind of cool, you know, like if it unlocked that sort of, you know, thought, I bet the Coen brothers would be
like abide is not
happy.
Like abide is like because I did the whole Merriam-Webster definition thing, right? It's accept or tolerate. So it doesn't even mean that you have to love it. You just have to tolerate it, and that goes a long way.
Yeah, like he passes through. Right.
You just tolerate it and get through it, and then when you're through it, you know, like most things in life, 48 hours later, in most cases, not serious stuff, but in a lot of cases, it goes away, and it wasn't that important to begin with. So a lot of what we're worried about.
Yeah, no, and there's times, I know, Carrie, you sometimes stress out about things too,
all the
where
time.
like you're up at 2 a.m. stressing about something and nothing comes of it. There's literally just nothing comes of it, and you just wasted all that emotional energy on something you didn't need to worry about.
If we remove that, you know, thing that's stressing us out in our life, like, we'll just find something else to.
That is the problem. Like. That is the problem.
Especially with medical stuff, right? Like, you go and you're like, oh, doctor, I have this pain here. It's been doing this for like a month, and I don't know what's wrong with me. And the doctor's like, well, I'll test you for all these things. This has happened to me. I'm speaking from personal experience. And they, you know, I'll tell you an exact example, okay? So there's this thing happening to me last year. I think I probably complained to you about it, Carrie. Every time I drank something cold, it hurt my back. And I was like, oh, I'm definitely dying. I don't know what I'm dying of.
First
but
conclusion.
Something is killing me. And I go to a doctor, and they're like, never heard of it. You're fine. I'm like, I don't believe you. I go to a gastrointestinal person. He laughs me out of the office and says, come back to me when you have something wrong with you. And, after that, I still don't believe him. And then eventually
that's the problem with it. Sorry, go ahead.
I found a forum online of people having this issue, tons of people having this issue. And, everyone's just like, yeah, I've gotten tested and all that. It's nothing. It's just a spasm in your back. You might have a back adjustment issue or whatever. So I go and I get a deep tissue massage. The whole thing goes away. And I had been worrying about it for like 3 months. And it was literally a deep tissue massage completely solved the problem. And I wasted, how many years did I take away from my life with the amount of stress I was putting on my heart, convinced I was dying. And if I was just able to embrace this, like, not giving a crap, I need to look at. Maybe I should read that book, Carrie. Maybe I should read that book you talked about.
It really is powerful because your brain will always find something if you're an anxious or OCD, personality. Like you could be feeling good and you'd be like, oh, why do I not feel anything? Is there nerve damage? Do I not have feeling? You know what I mean? So like you could go on, and it's a never-ending self-fulfillment loop that you can be in. So yeah, I think it's a good book to read. I mean, I think I've seen the Cliff Notes. This in modern culture, I've briefly seen the Cliff Notes on a tweet once, and I half read it. So I don't know, but it might be good.
I think it's called an X now. Is it still called a tweet?
Oh, yeah, an X. What do they call it? A tweet now? An X?
I don't know.
That's a good point.
Yeah, that's weird.
What's the past tense? Is it still X?
So I looked up, I asked our friend ChatGPT, fourth member of the show, if this was a box office success. What do you guys think? Was it?
Oh, no. I don't think it was.
No.
It was not. Yeah, they spent $15 million. They brought in $5.5 million on this film. So it actually
I bet you DVD sales, though, DVD sales, especially in the 90s, late 90s and early 2000s, they probably made a ton on this movie overall, long term.
You remember when DVD sales were a thing and people could expect
that was a big deal in 20 years ago. That made I was watching something about Band of Brothers, the HBO show, and it had, HBO historically had only judged their stuff based on if it was good for their programming because they were selling subscriptions. But once DVDs came out, it became a whole nother play for them. They could sell the box set later on. And they had sold so much of the Band of Brothers that they made, I think they said something like $600-700 million.
I see it at yard
I saw it at the thrift store today or yesterday. Last time
the metal
I went,
tin, right? The metal tin case.
The metal tin.
Yep.
And then they did the Pacific, which was kind of like the other theater of war.
Yep.
But they did that in the late 2000s, and it performed well for the late 2000s when the market was completely different and blockbusters were going out of business. And so, it's interesting. So I bet you it made a lot of money.
That's really cool.
I've never done
I mean, it's almost like if you make a box set, it's like you're selling 7 movies at a time, basically. I mean, the profit of...
Oh, yeah, they were
7 movies at a time.
Back in the day, I bet you when that came out in 2002 or whatever, they were probably selling it at $40-50 for the box set.
Yeah,
Something
right,
stupid.
Right.
We were probably paying.
Yeah. Because it was almost like they charged per disc. I remember it, for a lot of those things, it felt like it was like, here's the per disc charge.
$119.99.
Yeah, right. Exactly, like $120. I remember some of those.
The smart person would get the HBO subscription for 1 month. Watch it.
Exactly. Right. Watch it all and you're good. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I'm a huge fan of Steve Buscemi. I was a little shocked with how, and Barrett alluded to this, they kill him off at the end. And I thought again, I've seen this, but it's been a long time. And I didn't think he really died. I forgot that or filtered that out of my memory.
It was a nothing death. So I read this also. This was kind of a joke. It's a 3-film joke. It was in Miller's Crossing. He dies, and you see his whole body or something.
I've never
and
seen
then in Fargo, he dies.
He does die in Fargo.
And you just see his leg.
Yeah.
And in this movie, he dies, and you see dust.
I love it.
I was like, wow.
You gotta love that. The inside. There's gotta be. There's got to be so many inside jokes with directors and actors that work together all the time that they just throw in and we never catch. You know what I mean?
Well, there is
Exactly.
in all the Adam Sandler movies. I watched Click this week, which is one of his movies. But in that, he literally has the O'Doyle kid living next door. And if you remember from Billy Madison, O'Doyle rules, right? And there's this little redhead kid that used to pick on him. And O'Doyle goes through all the Sandler movies from the 90s, all of them.
This was
always got O'Doyle.
This was the this was the play to be like a character actor or a low end kind of like comedy actor in the mid 90s and become Adam Sandler's friend. You never have to work again for the rest of your life. You're going to be in every movie he ever does.
Yeah.
Forever. You could just make that money once
Big
a year.
Daddy.
Yeah, well, he'll be in all the movies
Billy
forever.
Madison,
You'll
Happy
get
Gilmore, just all
a couple
of them.
100,000 every year and you're good.
Yeah. That movie, by the way.
Financially, that would work out.
Have you seen that, Barrett? Click?
No.
Let me tell you, I want to talk about Click for a minute here, because why not? It's a
How much did Bed Bath & Beyond pay?
Dude,
for
seriously.
the endorsement they got on Click?
Big endorsement. But here's the thing about Click. If you, Barrett, were to say, if I was to say, Barrett, give me some key moments in a movie where Adam Sandler gets a remote control that can control the world around him, meaning pauses humans, fast forward thing, rewinds things, volume up, volume down, picture in picture. What are some like moments that you'd put into the film? I want to see if you can get a few of them right. Go. Adam Sandler. Think Adam Sandler. What would he do with a remote that could control the world around him?
I mean, I don't even want to. I don't know. Just reversing.
Okay.
Like some he falls down and oops.
Go beat up a bully or something, maybe.
Or yeah, there you go.
There you
bully.
go.
That's a good one.
Yeah, he does that, like a pantsing someone.
There's a love interest, of course,
someone.
and so like he screws up with the girl, and then he gets to do that again, right?
No, so they don't do that. That's more of a 51st Dates thing. But no, okay, so there's some stuff that I would expect Adam Sandler to do, right? Like pantsing someone.
I'm impressed. I'm impressed.
Right?
It's subverting my expectations.
Pulling down someone's pants, pausing, pulling down someone's pants, and then resuming, and then it's like,
just being able to
showing, right?
Just
Total
get away with
Adam
that.
Sandler thing.
Did he punch? He punched somebody, I'm sure. Right?
Yeah, so he
If I
paused
remember
it,
right.
and then he slapped his boss like 10 times, and then hit play, and his boss was like, oh, I have a crazy headache right now, right? Like, and then he paused it again because his boss is still being a jerk, and he goes up on the boss's desk and he farts in his mouth. His boss's mouth. Like, I mean, Barrett, I feel like you could have guessed that about Adam Sandler. Farts in his boss's mouth.
I suppose. The last Adam Sandler movie I watched was Uncut Gems, and
that was good.
Anything before that was like, I don't know, I probably saw Reign Over Me before that. Like, I have my memory in my head of Adam Sandler's like, this guy's an amazing actor and I love what he does. And so when I hear about movies like Click, I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot he did that.
That is the thing about Adam Sandler. He does exactly what he wants because he is a very, very good actor. Yeah. But he just he is. Most of the time it's like, hey guys, you want to go to Hawaii? Let's go film a movie.
Grown up.
They just try to figure out a premise in Hawaii so they can go on
vacation. And make like $1 bazillion doing it too. I mean, those make way more money than the indies and whatnot. But I do appreciate when actors like him understand like the almost the need to go and do those kind of indie films. I mean, it proves his mettle.
It proves that he's not useless.
Like, to me, if I had only had his like Click type films or whatever. I mean, I love his older stuff. Like,
dude, when I was a teenager, Billy Madison was my jam.
Yeah, Billy Madison's awesome. Yeah, I love that stuff. But yeah, like the more modern stuff, I was just like getting a little tired of it. In the same way that Marvel movies, become tiresome.
There's a Halloween one that's Hubie Halloween is awful. Yeah. He inked this Netflix deal where like they gave him 10 years and $10 billion and he had to make a movie a year. And he just crapped out garbage movies for the last 10 years. He really has.
But then he has Uncut Gems. Hustle was really good.
Yeah, he's made a few good
Hustle
ones.
was great. So like he still puts out decent stuff. He's actually, strangely, and I'm involved a little bit with sports cards. He's doing a movie right now about sports cards and like the whole community, I guess, from what I've heard. So he does just stuff he likes. He just
came out with an animated movie that on Netflix that my kids have watched like 30 times since it came out. It's called oh gosh, what is it called? Leo. It's called Leo, and kids
is that his?
It.
I didn't know.
Yeah, Leo is his. So my kids love that one. But anyway,
for Thanksgiving we watched that. Sorry, we watched. What was the one he did? 12. The one about Hanukkah, the cartoon he did.
Oh, 8 Crazy Nights.
Ago.
Love it. Love
8 Crazy Nights. The guy got covered in poop and then it froze. It was brilliant.
Yeah, that's a good one. Funny. But no, okay. The whole thing I was trying to
back
get
to the Big Lebowski.
My point. No, I was still talking about Click. I didn't finish my point about Click yet. So my point about Click was like those few moments were what I expected from an Adam Sandler freeze time remote control movie. But instead, the whole thing kind of goes, and this is a minor spoiler from 2006 movie Click.
Oh man.
He uses the fast forward button. Okay, so his like. his wife invites his parents over for dinner, and he doesn't want to sit with his wife's or with his parents for dinner. So instead of like doing something about it, he literally fast forwards time, which isn't how, like, if I had a click remote to change life, I would never fast forward through life. That's the one thing I would never do, because you only have life. You don't get to go back, right? Like, and like literally, if he goes back,
very, very few circumstances
where
I
would
could
want to
feel
fast forward,
like
right?
where I'd want to do that.
Yeah, and the thing with this movie, which was kind of intelligent, is when you go backwards, you don't get to relive. You get to watch the thing that happened. So if you were to, go rewind, Barrett, to try to fix the thing that you messed up with some girl, it wouldn't work. You just watch yourself make the mistake, kind of like in the movie Christmas Carol, right? You're just watching the past, right? So that was kind of a smart move, but the whole movie becomes like so serious about fast forwarding, because all of a sudden it starts fast forwarding the stuff you fast forwarded once, like auto fast forward. Oh, you don't like when your parents come over? We're just gonna auto fast forward. Oh, you don't like that you got a cold and you fast forwarded through a whole cold, which again, who would fast forward through a whole cold? You just had a cold, Barrett. It lasted a week of your life. Would you have wanted to skip it that whole week?
Yeah, no way.
No way. It's insane. Like, the whole premise becomes so ridiculous in Click that I ended up getting, I didn't like it, because it becomes this like really depressing thing where all of a sudden he's fast forwarded and it starts jumping 10 years of his life. Oh, you wanted to jump to your next promotion. Now you're the CEO. 13 years have passed. You missed it all. And it's just like, it becomes super depressing, and I guess
interesting.
It ends up you end up like thinking about life and stuff, and how, like, if you really think about it, think about last year.
I'm laughing because of it's a surprise to me.
It's smarter. It's way smarter than I expected. I thought it would be just like a stupid slapstick, which is what I wanted, but it's not what I got. Like, I got introspective and crap after the movie, because like
I didn't see you.
I was very upset about it. I was like, why am I thinking about life?
TV or computer or your phone off, like just sitting with the blank screen for 5 minutes, just going through your whole life, having this existential crisis after Click.
Because like, here's the thing, like, do you actually remember every moment from the last 5 years? I remember very few moments.
I don't know what I had for lunch, bro.
So it's almost like I did fast forward through those years. How weird is that? Like,
no, I think that we, I don't know. I like to think that I try and collect as many good memories as I can within those times.
Well,
like, if you're not right, you won't have any if you fast forward. So
I feel like it's impossible. It's impossible to connect to every moment we've ever had at any given time. But at the moment where you are right now is kind of an accumulation of everything you've been through. The way you react to things, the way you act, is all based on things you've learned or reactions that didn't go right in the past or whatever, and you're trying to learn from it. Or maybe you're falling back into the same things you've always done. Who knows? But I feel like we're all just an accumulation of that.
The Pixar film Inside Out, like, portrays that really maybe accurately.
Memories.
Like, it does seem like it's sort of like, okay, this stuff isn't really important. We don't need this anymore. Throw that down the chute.
Yeah.
Kind of stuff. I love the way that they
showed
the workings of the brain in that.
But what I guess, like, really what it's, the whole movie's theme and plot is like, don't rush life. Don't just sit there wishing it was tomorrow so you could get that big promotion, or don't appreciate the moment you're living. Every moment is precious, right? And that's
right.
It went from this like funny,
and there's something
slapstick,
to appreciate. Wherever you are.
It went from this funny slapstick movie in the first 20 minutes to like, oh my gosh, this is like actually ended up being like a really deep and kind of depressing movie, where it's like, it wasn't what I was expecting, but it was also like really thought provoking. So weird. Pitch for Click, guys.
It's seriously. You guys didn't know you wanted a Click deep dive, but you got one.
There we go. There we go.
To be honest, like, there's not that much to talk about in a movie like Big Lebowski.
That is true. The Big Lebowski,
I think there's probably not been many Click and Big Lebowski comparisons so far, and so I like to think that this is a relatively unique.
There may have been
take on it.
There may have been an original thought or original sentence that has never been said in the history of the world tonight.
This could be our thumbnail and title: Click versus the Big Lebowski. Which is the better movie?
If that doesn't get us over 1% click through, I don't know what won't. Will.
You know what? Listen, no, what doesn't matter. No one's watching. We're okay with it, though, because we're here just to enjoy chatting about movies.
Dude, if you're in 39 minutes in, go ahead and leave a timestamp down below.
Yeah,
let us know.
Let us know what you think. Yeah, we appreciate the...
I must admit, sorry, I keep
Very good.
that my internet did a little stuff, but I don't know. I like these kind of this early time. I feel like I might, if the audience took off, I'd be like,
Yeah.
like this sort of intimacy of like you can ask a person, one of the two people who comment.
That's right. Yeah.
We can ask them a question. It's sort of I
think
like that kind of directness.
I think that's like an issue with life in general, is not appreciating. I mean, without getting too deep, like we did with Click, it's kind of not appreciating the journey of what you're doing. Because like one thing I've learned about like social media, for example, is like there's always another destination, a higher level that you want to get to, and like you can never really be satisfied. So and then you don't appreciate like the stuff that you're going through. That a lot of it, which is interesting and cool.
It is like a
fun.
silly movie, but it's like it doesn't mean that it doesn't have like an interesting and maybe truthful core to it. That is, could be profound. Who knows?
Yeah. It changed my life in a way that it did nothing to change my life, if that makes sense. It added nothing, but it took away nothing. So that changed everything, is what I say.
It did do something to me, though, because it did make me think about who I am and like what stresses me out. And it made me wonder if I could change a little bit, and would it be beneficial if I changed and got a little less tight, wound up,
Yeah, like can you abide? Yeah, a little more.
I think you both Barrett abides better than Carrie. I know you both very closely, and Barrett is a much better abider than Carrie. Carrie is more like me than he's admitting right now.
No, I am. No, I definitely am. I'm probably more in some aspects. I'm worse than you for sure. That's 100%.
Yeah, there's times where Carrie
it's a weird juxtaposition. I feel like every human being is it feels like with me, I'm a perfect mixture of my mother and my father as far as my personality goes. My mom is very uptight and success oriented and everything. And my dad was very much the dude.
Was he the dude?
Like he was very much the dude and like go with the flow and very happy go lucky. And I feel that in me, but like it's covered with layers of anxiety and like, so I feel like there might be, it might be possible to channel that at some point a lot more. Maybe that's part of growing and getting older.
I mean, honestly, it's like I work sort of like narrow hours and whatnot at my job, and I've always done that deliberately, with less pay, with less hours, to sort of make some room for like my own projects and just my own time and whatnot. And I've just found that to be stubbornly like excellent choice so far in my life. Like it's absolutely benefited me with the time I get to spend with my family. It allows me to just think, or just to just kind of have that time to chill out. Because I would say, like, if I if I had anything like your guys' schedules, or for example, I would be going crazy. Like it's not like I'm definitely a creature of my circumstance. Like if I have that kind of build up going on.
Well, don't try to conflate Carrie's schedule here. Let's talk about Carrie's schedule, because I called him today, Barrett, at 3, and he was not up yet enough to answer the phone until 4. 4, he called me back.
Well,
like,
I am Pacific time. I am on the West Coast, my
like,
friend.
I used to do that. Yeah, I used to wake up whenever.
I'm like 11. Like I'm 10 to noon usually on most days is when I get up. But I get a lot of my work done when you're asleep, man. Like that's actually
exactly right.
I don't necessarily love it, and ideally I would like to be a little bit more of a morning person. But for the same reason people like the early morning, like where they can focus. I like the late night because I can actually get.
I'm with you on that. Like like having kids is the only reason I'm a morning person now. But yeah, before that it was just like go to bed at 3 a.m. or whatever, and just I have that nice big chunk of time to work on things and be kind of But
you do benefit from being on the East Coast, like Carrie said, and I think like for him, because he deals a lot with East Coasters and people in the Eastern time zone, it's worse. Like he'll miss a whole day by accident, and it'll be like, because if he gets up at noon and then he showers and gets ready and has breakfast and he's like kind of finally getting up and going at like 1, 2, it's like 4 or 5 over here. And
no. There's a lot of times where it's like I'm just like getting going, and you guys are like, I got to remember that you guys are like winding down from a day already.
Such a Californian thing.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, dude, we missed it.
You missed the day. The day's gone.
No, you're right. If it was if I was East Coast, that would be like, say it was like 1, it would be 10 a.m. like over here. So it wouldn't be nearly as. Dang it, yeah.
Yeah,
screwed being in Vegas,
come on
man.
over, bro. Come on over.
Dude,
Move to
I'm
Florida.
serious, dude. Where's all the alligators? I want to stay away from that.
They're
section.
near the cocaine, from what I understand.
They're near
in
the
strip
cocaine
clubs.
at all times.
Alligators, cocaine, strip
I
clubs.
love
I'm
it.
pretty sure that's what Florida's known for.
a
You know,
good
I
band,
did
by the
actually.
way.
Oh well, we've got a great movie. Okay, let's preface a few things. Okay, we are not gonna let the magical ChatGPT pick the next movie. The next episode is going to be about a movie that we all wanted to see. That's more new. It's on Netflix. It's The Killer. It's a David Lynch joint, and we will be talking about that in the next episode. So make sure you watch it on Netflix, and we'll talk about that in the next episode. But before we end this episode, Carrie, I watched Click. What have you been watching this week? Anything new?
Who?
You go to
Napoleon?
the movies? Napoleon.
Dude, I went to see Napoleon in the movie. So I am a Francophile, as they say. I wanted to, in a previous
He
life when I
loves
was
people
going to
named
college.
Frank.
Yeah, I love Frank people.
Kink he has.
No, I wanted to teach French history. I got my history degree. I wanted to go back and be a French history professor. So I love all things French history. And that movie was, it's not the kind of movie that you could do without it being like 40 hours long. So much happened in that dude's life.
It's too
so much
early to
intricacy.
spoil it, too. It's too early to spoil
Yeah,
it.
it's
But
too
I
early
also
to spoil
saw
it, but
I also saw it.
Yeah, they tried to get like a ton of they should have focused on one event. That was the problem. They tried to focus on his whole life like a biopic, and it just everything felt rushed. And Joaquin Phoenix was Joaquin Phoenixing it up a little bit too much.
I thought he did really good. I thought he did really good, honestly.
I liked it, but I felt like he missed the.
I didn't have any expectation of what Napoleon should be, though.
I feel like he missed the dynamism, like a little bit of the electricity that Napoleon, I would have imagined, had to be such a leader that he was, and he was much more subdued than I would have liked. But it was still good at the same time, if that makes sense.
I asked ChatGPT if dynamism is a word. I'm gonna see what it says.
Yeah, I bet you it is. I bet you it is, man.
I've just never heard it. So I also went and saw Napoleon. I saw it with my brother, and I guess maybe my complaint is the same because I was like, man, I really wanted more. Like, I wanted almost like a mini series on HBO. I think
the problem is like
14
I thought about
2-hour
this.
episodes or something.
The problem is like they couldn't get the money to do it right because if they put it on HBO and made it a mini series, they'd have to cut because they couldn't spend the money for the. And one of the nicest things about Napoleon was the battle scenes, like how
they were great,
how just ornate they were and everything, and that was they probably couldn't have done that on a TV show budget. I don't know.
Look at Game of Thrones. I mean, how much did they spend on those battle scenes? It must not have been cheap, right?
A lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they've got that new Amazon Lord of the Rings show that bored me after 20 minutes.
I think they have to have. I mean, think about how big Game of Thrones is, though. They didn't have that kind of stuff in season 1 because they physically couldn't afford it. You know, it's like it had to become a cultural phenomenon in order to do those.
I feel like they'll put more money behind like sexy dragon stuff than they will like historical epics. You know what I mean? Oh, that's a sexy dragon. Let's put a lot of cash behind that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like, okay, so
it would be cool to see though, and like, who knows? Yeah, maybe it could happen.
I'd still say like, okay, so this is important because it was late. We went at like 8:30 or something, and I'm an early to bed kind of guy. Like, I go to bed at like 11, and if I'm in a movie theater and I've just stuffed my face with popcorn and eaten a bunch of peanut butter cups, there's a good chance I'm falling asleep during a film. Barrett, you've probably been with me when I've fallen asleep in a film.
Yeah, definitely.
Right, like that, at least once, especially with the candy and the sugar coma. Like, I'll pass out if I'm not really into a movie.
Such a funny concept to me.
Especially with the recliners, dude. It's so hard because they're so comfortable.
Yeah. I mean, they're so comfortable.
You know, and
they have the seat heaters in them now. I'm like,
heaters.
Oh my gosh.
They're gonna be like massaging you soon. And anyway, so
you're usually out like before Nicole Kidman finishes her opening prayer or whatever she's doing every episode.
Dude, listen. So my brother's even worse than me, and we went and we saw this, and neither of us even got close to falling asleep. So that is saying something really powerful about the film. Like, me and Carrie could complain about it, but it was still a good film. It
was still good. I want to go see it again. I'm gonna go see it with.
I liked it better than Oppenheimer. I'm just gonna say that. I thought
you're the only human. The only human in the world who thought Oppenheimer was going to be like Fast and the Furious or something.
Honestly,
I thought it was going to be straight action when it was obviously about Oppenheimer.
I would have loved Oppenheimer if it was like this.
Scientist.
If it was like this. This is like a biopic done
We should have
right.
had battle scenes.
No,
and
forget
stuff.
the battle scenes. I'm just saying in general, like following the progression of events in a straight line without any of this back and forth
Okay, yeah,
stuff.
that's
like,
true. Yeah.
if the story had been told in Oppenheimer the way this story was told, I think I would have liked this better, or Oppenheimer better. But I really enjoyed the way they formatted this. They just told the story. They had these key moments.
You
stuff
would have
like
liked
that,
Oppenheimer better if it wasn't a Christopher Nolan film, is what you're saying.
which I generally don't like his film. So that does
Yeah, because
actually
he's
make
always
sense.
about. I
don't
mean,
like-
Memento.
I hate his
He's
Batman
always about backwards,
movies.
forward,
yeah.
sideways.
Actually, Memento and
yeah.
Seven, those are both his, right?
7 is
Yeah.
not.
No, not
7
seven.
is
Seven's
David
not, no,
Fincher.
but
okay.
Memento is. Yeah.
I did like Memento. I did like that one, but that I came in with nothing like as far as preconceived notions. It was just like a standalone thing, and I was able to enjoy it. Listen, I would be curious because Barrett, I would be curious if you saw Napoleon, which you liked better, Oppenheimer or Napoleon,
I'm pretty sure that I'm gonna like Oppenheimer
because
more.
of the
I mean,
visuals. You think, or because of the storytelling? Because the visuals were crazy in Oppenheimer. I will say that.
probably both.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't even see it on one of the amazing screens either. It
Well,
was
there
just
were
a
so few
standard
of those.
theater.
I saw.
I know.
I definitely did like the Dolby Atmos for Napoleon. I did the big
Yeah.
screen with the surround
Yeah,
sound.
I mean, I would do
helped a
that
lot.
too for Napoleon. Like, I mean, it's like Ridley Scott. We're talking about like, okay, Ridley Scott as far as a visual director, like they
It
don't
was
they
cool.
don't come much better than him.
true.
And so I'm not trying to.
No, like I said, I think
downplay
this
that at all,
Napoleon's like one of the best movies I've seen this year. It is like it's one of my favorites
Yeah.
from the year.
That's great to hear. Honestly, I want to love like every Ridley Scott movie, but I don't love them all. You
Yeah.
know, but I love it when I love them. They're like, wow, this is like the best thing ever.
My only
I
thing
was
is,
I was kind of comparing it to. Sorry, go ahead, Matt.
I was just gonna say I also got that feeling. I didn't know how to describe it, but like I wanted more of the conquering Napoleon, the powerful. Like it didn't like feel like he was super powerful and like a conquering hero as much. Every now and then he'd have these moments of brilliance, but I feel like his whole life must have been moments of brilliance. And I don't feel like they
Yeah.
really portrayed
Well,
it that way.
historically, they glossed over a lot.
They
a
had
lot.
to.
They went through because they had to. So, and you know, overall, I really did enjoy it. I'm a Christopher Nolan guy, so I love that. Like Interstellar, like me and
I
Dawn
didn't
are very
know that
different. My
movie.
girlfriend Dawn. Dawn hates Interstellar.
I'm with Dawn.
with a passion. Interstellar
Wow.
is like my favorite movie ever.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
'cause
Interstellar. So
love-
Dave hates Interstellar. Like, it's kind of funny. I mean, that's like one of the highest like IMDb ratings, maybe of any.
Yeah.
That's just sort of always at the top of those kind of charts.
Yeah.
That's so funny. Yeah.
I just didn't like it. I thought it was just I don't know. I need to rewatch that before I give it. It's been a long time since I saw it. I saw it once in the theater. I remember it just being there was cool moments in Interstellar. I liked some of the moments. I just didn't really love the story of Interstellar, so I don't know. I need to
Yeah, I
rewatch
mean,
it.
like, you're allowed to not
Yeah.
like Interstellar.
Yeah.
Like, I like that you don't lie about it.
Yeah, no, I'm just
no,
not a
we-
Nolan fan, honestly. Like most
Yeah,
of the stuff
yeah.
he does. Although I
Fair
liked
enough.
I don't know if this was him, but the one where they go into dreams and dreams of dreams. What was that one?
yeah, Inception.
Was that Nolan?
Yeah. That was
Yeah, that
Nolan
was
I
as
Nolan.
liked
well,
that
yeah.
one. I did like that one. So it's not like I hate all his films, but it's few and far between
Well,
that I'm
you-
really into one of his movies.
Well, we've already had some massive debates about the fact that I love Christian Bale as Batman.
Yeah, and
the
I
most
hated that. I
Ever.
hated
And that's-
all those
Yeah,
movies.
and I love like
Yeah, that's
the
so crazy
the,
you hated
the
those
dark
movies.
and
Yeah.
violent Batman. I guess maybe not quite so much like
Yeah.
the Robert Pattinson one, which is super noir and dark and
That
violent.
one.
But Christian Bale's like my favorite actor too. So I'm a
you know
big
what it is,
Bale
it's-
guy.
I have a hard time disagreeing with you on that.
Yeah, well,
He's one of those carry the film kind of people.
He is.
I don't
yeah.
know. My friend Shane Hurlbut said he was kind of mean.
No, I've heard that too. Here's what Dawn said about Napoleon, Dave. You would get a kick out of this. She said she kind of wishes like somebody like Christian Bale would have been Napoleon instead of Joaquin Phoenix.
Really?
I will say,
an actor like that.
a movie like Ford vs Ferrari was an example
I
of
didn't see
a
that
movie
one.
where it was pretty good.
Okay.
I would say, just decent overall pacing and stuff like that. Like Matt Damon's in it. When I see Matt Damon in that movie, I don't buy. I'm not seeing Carol Shelby, you know, but then I see Christian Bale, and just like whoever he wants to be, it seems like I just buy it almost instantly. It's just like the way he just seems to alter his appearance. Maybe it just with makeup
Yeah.
and the
It's the
combination
dedication
of other
to-
factors.
The
I
unhealthy
guess
dedication to the craft.
Yeah, the unhealthy dedication, definitely. Like his the
Joaquin
Machinist.
Phoenix
If you
has
see
that
if you
too.
see his physicality in the film The Machinist,
Yeah.
which
I
he's
felt
like a
like-
pencil,
Yeah,
and then
I've
he
seen
went
that.
straight to Batman Begins.
Yeah.
After that movie,
I will
where he's like gained 200 pounds.
Yeah,
within
it's
like
insane. It's insane.
Yeah,
it's insane.
Yeah.
I felt like Joaquin Phoenix in this honestly was kind of almost playing himself. He was kind of doing a Ryan Reynolds where he's like the same himself in this movie. And I know there was acting and it was subtle. He was trying to be subtle, but I felt like it didn't really serve that
Because
character
the
as well
veil
as it
was
could have.
like a little thin.
It
maybe.
did just feel a little bit like moody Joaquin Phoenix, you know.
There's
a little
stuff
bit.
I
Yeah,
want
yeah.
to
As
spoil.
much as I loved it, I did enjoy it still.
There's stuff I want to spoil, but I'm not going to. But I'll just say, like, a lot of the stuff with his wife in Napoleon, kind of like, I don't know. I wanted less of that. I wanted less of their relationship and more of like the conquering.
You wanted more of like a classic biopic about like what he did historically leading and not so much about his personal life.
Yeah.
Or at least that aspect of it.
Well, that aspect, just I mean, what would you say? Like a third of the movie was literally just his
Yeah,
relationship with his
here's-
wife. It was a lot of it.
I was talking to Dawn about this. Elvis is a person where you could have multiple movies about, right? You
Yeah.
had the Elvis that was all over the place and about music, and it was Baz Luhrmann. And then they did Priscilla recently, which was based on Elvis and Me, the book, and the old movie. And it was all about Priscilla's perspective, and it was more about the relationship, right?
Yeah.
I feel like with Napoleon, you could tell, you know, the epic just about his the events and how great of a leader he was.
Yeah.
You probably could do one just about his relationship with Josephine and get into that more if you wanted. It just didn't seem like you could do it in the same movie.
It was
well.
hard.
And-
It was
and-
hard to context switch, and like he's in Egypt, and then all of a sudden he's back at home arguing about his wife's affair. You know, it just was like,
groceries or whatever.
yeah, it was too back and forth on that, and I do think they would have been better served to focus on one or the other, like you said.
I
Just focus
agree.
on-
Like in general, as far as
Yeah.
I just feel more engaged when they just pick a lane. You know,
Yeah.
it's okay. You're gonna miss other things, but just do this one really well. And
Don't try to get it all into a 2.5-hour movie. It's too much.
Right.
I haven't seen this movie, but I've heard it's really good. Waterloo, which was a 1970s movie just about the Battle of Waterloo, the 1815 battle. Like they could have definitely done 2.5, 3 hours on that battle. The fact that he came back, you know, this is all historical, so it's not really giving anything away. He came back, took over France again, basically, and then everybody was against him, and he had that big battle at Waterloo.
Yeah.
Like they could have made that the 3-hour movie and just gone into
Yeah,
detail
right,
about
just
that.
a single
Maybe had
event,
a few
right.
flashbacks to kind
That
of give
is
a
a
little
crazy
bit of
thing,
context.
because all of those like moments in the movie, I could see a whole movie about them. Like
No,
there's
they
so
could-
many of those.
He won 60 battles
Yeah,
plus.
and we saw like 3 in the
crazy.
movie.
3.
It's crazy.
And I do love that whichever one, the one Austerlitz, the one that's on the ice, that's
That
one
was
of my
awesome.
favorite
That was
parts
awesome.
of that movie
Yeah.
because
That was the best part of the
I
movie.
love that it was. And I'm not going to give anything away here, but I like how it didn't spoon feed the fact of how great of a tactician he was, because it just showed you.
Yeah.
It just showed you the brilliance of what he did without telling you really what he was going to do.
Dude, but is it
you just kind of
possible
saw.
that scene was too good and it made everything else feel bad because it was such a great moment?
It's possible.
Like that,
It's
I
possible.
wanted the whole time, before and after, especially after, I was like, I want more of that. And I didn't get it again. And I loved
Maybe
that
one of the
moment
most
so much.
interesting. I'm not going to say it's the best battle scene I've ever seen, but maybe one of the most interesting ones,
was
because I'm
really
like,
cool.
wow, that was really
cool.
interesting. How that's brilliant.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, I think
Intriguing.
that was worth watching. I mean, I don't know if you need to see it in the theater because it'll be out on demand tomorrow, probably. The way things work now, these things come out. So
I don't think
quick.
it did that well in the
theaters
box
are fun
office,
though.
so-
They have heated
They
seats.
do have heated seats. Yeah. Did it not, Carrie?
It kind of somewhat bombed. You know, it didn't do as well as they had hoped. I think.
Really? Okay.
Which is unfortunate because, like,
Dude, it beat
what
it was
bothers me
number
about
one
that
at
is
the
it
box
makes me
office.
feel like they're not going to do movies like this if they keep having. But
I mean,
Oppenheimer
that
did so
is how
well.
it- Yeah, true.
78 million. It debuted at 78 million, including 46 million international. So only 33
spent a lot,
million.
though.
Yeah, only 33 million in the U.S. Do you think word of
I
mouth
think
is
they
gonna?
spent like 200 million, like to make it. Then plus,
they say
marketing
double
after
that for the marketing.
Yeah.
Double it for the marketing. So
Right,
400
double.
million total.
I don't know how they could have expected to, like, 400 seems like a lot of money to spend on a movie like this.
Yeah. Well, in the next episode,
I mean, as much as I love it,
I don't know. I think it could have good word of mouth. Like, Barrett, are you kind of intrigued now? Are you kind of tempted to see it?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like it was one of those that I'm just intending on watching.
Yeah.
Like, I knew I was going to watch it when
Yeah.
I saw that it was a thing, and I'm just not too
You're not
terribly
rushed.
bothered about
Yeah.
like timing.
Yeah.
But I'll definitely see it. Yeah.
I think it could have a lot of word
I
of
would.
mouth carryover.
I'd personally say if you're a theater person, go see it in the theater. To me, it's
Okay,
a classic theater movie.
Visuals are great.
Because just the scene, visuals are great. And,
and it's
and
like
it might
there's
be
no-
worth
no argument.
IMAX or Dolby Atmos because I think it adds to it.
Well,
Most
and,
movies
and
aren't
I
like
have
that,
to
but
say,
this
like,
one.
the amount of money they must have spent on costumes and costume design, like,
You just see it on,
oh my
on
gosh,
screen.
dude! Like, every costume was
Yeah.
so ornate, and everyone I'm looking at, I'm like, they probably
That's
spent
cool.
like $400 on each one of these 500 people's costumes. Like, a lot of the money had to go into costumes, and they're never
Here's
going to
the-
use them again.
Totally.
Here's the big brain
Yep.
move, Dave, from our other world where we resell stuff on the internet.
Yeah.
Whoever was finding all those old French general hats probably made a lot of money.
They probably were selling a lot of those. Yeah.
Selling a lot of French general hats.
Yeah, Carrie, we need to talk offline
That's
with some
cool.
spoilers on that one, but it was a good movie.
Yeah.
We're going to end this episode, and thank you guys for watching. Like I said, next week we're going to be talking about The Killer on the Netflix. It's like in the top 10, so you can find it pretty quickly. It is another Fincher flick, I believe. Same guy that did the Social
Yes, it
Network.
is, yeah.
And make sure you subscribe, hit the like button, comment this time so we have something to talk about in the next episode. All right, bye-bye.
Take care, guys.